Good morning, students. So in our last class we discussed about the polar form, and also we discussed there how to find out the modulus and argument, isn't it? So after completing the exercise 5.2, actually not complete there, so a few questions are remain and you have to do by yourself these 3 or 4 questions. Now today, after polar form, now here today we have to discuss another topic here, which one is known as quadratic equation, isn't it? So now here in quadratic equation, already we get in class 10. In quadratic equation, mainly we get a quadratic form, isn't it? Which one is of the form ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. All of you get this one in class 10, isn't it? So this one is a quadratic equation. So the general form of a quadratic equation. So here a, b and c, these 3 are what? The real numbers, isn't it? And now here with respect to this, there we get a quadratic formula, isn't it? And the quadratic formula is this one: x equal to, we get there, minus of b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac, 4ac divided by twice a. So this formula we get here in general form of this one is a general form. For this general formula we get this quadratic formula here, isn't it? So after getting this one, now what is the name of this part? B square minus 4ac. This b square minus 4ac is known as discriminant. Is it clear? And which one we represent by d? So d equal to b square minus 4ac. This one is known as discriminant. So with respect to this discriminant, so here mainly we get 3 results, isn't it? So this one is totally depending on what type of value we get here for this b square minus 4ac, isn't it? So this b square minus 4ac value may be positive, may be equal, or may be less than 0, isn't it? So that means in case of this b square minus 4ac value, so you see here the first condition we get b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, which one we get in class 10, isn't it? So if b square minus 4ac is greater than 0, then what we can say here, the roots are real and unequal. And the second condition, if we see here, this one we get here, b square minus 4ac is equally 0. In this case also we get what we get, the whole value is if 0, then we get here real roots and equal, isn't it? So these 2 conditions are we discuss in class 10, but in class 10 one more condition is there, and which one is, if you see here the third one, which one is here, b square minus 4ac less than 0. And in this case what we write, b square minus 4ac less than 0 means simply we say there imaginary roots, isn't it? So imaginary roots. So this part we discuss in class 10. Now here we have to discuss about this one. So in this topic, under this topic, quadratic formula or quadratic equation, we have to discuss this type of equations. Is it clear? So where the discriminant value is less than 0, that means we get imaginary roots and we have to find out these imaginary roots. Is it clear? So let's take an example here and let's see how can we solve this type of questions. Let's take an example, and the example is given here, which one is solve x square plus 2 equals to 0. So that means this one is a quadratic equation, is not it? And now we have to solve this one and find out the roots here. So in this case what you get, see here the equation is given x square plus 2 equals to 0. Is it clear? So now from here, if you see here, x square equal to, we get minus 2, and therefore if we take the square root, then we get here x equals to plus minus of root over minus 2. Is not it? We get this type of value here, root over minus 2 plus minus of root over minus 2, ultimately root over minus 2. That means this one also we can write root over 2i. Can we write here? Yes, because root over minus 2 means root over 2 into minus 1, and root over minus 1 value is what? All of you know, root over minus 1 value is I here. So that's why we have to write here x equal to plus minus root 2I. Let's see here this one. This one is an imaginary question, so here we get imaginary values here. Is it clear? Okay. So now let's take another example, and the example is given like in this way here. Here you see what given, x square plus x plus 1 equals to 0. So in this case, if you see the question is given here, x square plus x plus 1 equals to 0. If we directly apply the quadratic formula here, so if we directly apply the quadratic formula, so x equal to what we get? Minus of b. Minus of b means in this case we have to write minus of 1, is not it? Plus minus root over b square. B square means what? Minus of 1 whole, how much? 1 whole square here. So here what you have to write, b means what? 1, so that's why we have to write 1 square. And minus 4, a means what? 1, c means what? 1, divided by twice a, 2 into 1. Is it clear? So if you want, then you can write here, a means what? If we convert this one into general form of a square plus bx plus c, so here a means what? 1, so that's why we have to write a equal to 1, b means what? 1, and c means what? 1. So in this case these three are 1, 1, 1, so that's why minus 1 plus minus root over 1 square minus 4 into 1 into 1 divided by 2 into 1. So ultimately what we get here, this one is minus of 1, here plus minus, this one we get here root over minus 3 divided by 2, or ultimately this one we get here minus of 1 plus minus root over minus 3 means we can write root over 3 into I divided by 2. Is it clear? So here we get two roots, one is plus, another one is minus. So what we get here, one value we get here, x equal to minus of 1 plus of root 3I divided by 2, and another one we get here, x equal to, this one we get minus 1 minus of root 3I. So root 3I divided by 2. Is it clear? So from here if we solve, this type of two values that we get here. Is it clear? So very simple questions. So just we have to apply the quadratic formula and then easily we can find out the value. Just here what we get, the values that we get here, imaginary values. Is it clear? Okay, so in this way easily you can solve the exercise 5.3, is not it? So what you have to do there, just we have to find out or solve the, some equations are given there and we have to solve these equations. So how many questions are there? 10 questions are there. I think easily you can solve this one. So let's take an example from there. If you see the question number 10, and the question number 10 is here given, and the question number 10 is what? X square plus x by root 2 plus 1 equals to 0. So if you see the question number 10 here, and the other 9 questions you have to solve by yourself. Is it clear? Or if you face any problem, you can ask me here. But if you see the question number 10 here, and the question number 10 is given x square plus x by root 2 plus of 1 equals to 0. Now if you see the question is this one, x square plus x by root 2 plus of 1 equals to 0. Is it clear? So this one is the question given here. So if we solve this question now here, what you have to do, first of all, if we take LCM, then this one is root 2, then what you have to write here, root 2x square plus of x plus of root 2 equals to 0. Is it clear? If a quadratic equation, if given like this in this type of fraction form, if the right hand side is 0 or whatever, if any value we get, then what you have to do here, you have to convert this one into general form, like we have to convert this one into ax square plus bx plus c form. Is it clear? So that's why if we convert this one, then we get the result like in this way. If you cross multiply this root 2, ultimately the value we get here, root 2x square plus x plus this one is we get here root 2 equals to 0. Is it clear? So this one is a quadratic equation here we get. Clear? So now what you have to do, we have to solve this one. So in this case, if we identify a means what, if we compare with ax square plus bx plus c, then here a means what, here a means root 2, isn't it? B means what, b means 1, and c means what, c means here root 2. Ax square plus bx plus c, so that means ultimately a root 2, b1 and c equal to root 2. So if we get this 3, now easily we can apply the formula here. the quadratic formula, is not it? So if we apply the quadratic formula here, so that's what you have to write. X equal to, if we write this one, if you see here, minus b, so that means we have to write here minus of 1 plus minus root over b square. B square means 1 square, is not it? Minus 4ac, minus 4 into root 2 into root 2. 4ac divided by twice a. A means what? A means root 2. So that's how we have to write here 2 root 2. Is it clear? So I think all of you know how to calculate this one. So no need to calculate here. You have to do this one by yourself. So if this type of questions are here, if a quadratic equation not given in the general form, so we have to convert this one into first general form, and then after that we have to solve this one, and easily we can find out the value of x from here. So this exercise 5.3 is very simple here. So I think easily you can solve this exercise. So that's why you have to do this one by yourself. This one is your homework. Is it clear? So 10 questions are here mainly. You have to do this one by yourself. So after completing this exercise 5.3, now today we have to solve some example questions. So these example questions are very important examination point of view, or you have to practice this type of questions actually. Is it clear? So let's take the first example here. What you have to do here, the question is given. If you see here, find the conjugate of, in numerator part what written, 3 minus 2i into 2 plus 3i divided by 1 plus 2i into 2 minus I. Is it clear? So now here actually what you have to do, for this expression what we have to find out, we have to find out the conjugate. So conjugate means what we know. In general form we know, if a complex number we consider z equal to a plus ib, if we recall this one, the conjugate we denoted by z bar, is not it? And now here z bar means if it is positive, then we have to write here negative. This one is the conjugate. And if a complex number given in negative form, then we have to write down the conjugate is what? Positive one. Is it clear? So this one is known as conjugate. So that means here the question is given now here, 3 minus 2i, 2 plus 3i. So that means first of all what you have to do, we have to convert this equation, this expression or whatever given there, we have to first convert into a plus ib form, and then after that we have to solve and we have to convert this one into conjugate form. Is it clear? Okay. So here given 3 minus 2i. So 3 minus 2i into 3 minus 2i into 2 plus 3i. So that means this one you have to write 2 plus 3i divided by given here 1 plus 2i. This one given 1 plus 2i divided by 2 minus I. Is it clear? 1 plus 2i into 2 minus I. This one is the expression given here, and we have to find out the conjugate of this expression. So first of all what you have to do here, first of all we have to convert this one into a plus ib form. If we convert this one into a plus ib form, then only we can write down the conjugate. So in this case what you have to do, let's see first. First of all, if you multiply the denominator part here, 1 into 2, 1 into I. So if I write directly here 1 into 2, so that means we have to write 2, and then 1 into minus I, that means we have to write here minus I. Similarly 2i into 2, that means plus of 4 to the 4i, and then 2i minus I, that means how much we have to write? Minus 2i square. Is it clear? So what we get? 1 into 2, 1 into minus I, so that means 2 minus I. Then 2i into 2, 4i, 2i into I square, that means minus 2i square. Is it clear? And similarly if you multiply this one, 3 to the 6, so that means we write here 6, and then 3 3s are here 9, that means we have to write plus 9i. Is it clear? And then minus plus minus 2 to the 4i, and then minus plus minus 3 to the 6 into I square. Is it clear? So if we multiply, then we get this result. Now in this case, if you see here, if you calculate this one, what we get here? 2. Here I square means what? I square means minus 1. If I square is minus 1, minus minus plus, so 2 plus 2, here we get this one is 4. Is it clear? Similarly here 4i minus I, that means we get here plus of 3i. Is it clear? So what we have done here, I square means minus 1, minus minus plus, so that's why 2, 2 plus 2, 4, and then 4i minus I, that means we get here 3i. Is it clear? Similarly, if the numerator part, if you see here I square means minus 1, so minus minus plus here, so plus 6, that means total 12, here we get 12, and here if you see 9i minus 4i, that means plus of 5i. Is it clear? So this one is, after calculating this result, we get this type of form. Is it clear? So now after that, what you have to do? Again, we have to convert this one into a plus ib form. So what you have to do? To eliminate I from the denominator, we have to multiply it by their conjugate. So 4 plus 3i, the conjugate of this 4 plus 3i is what? 4 minus 3i. So that's why we have to write here 12 plus 5i. This one you have to write 4 plus 3i into. Now if we multiply it by their conjugate, then what you have to write? This one you have to write 4 minus 3i, and in numerator also we have to write 4 minus 3i to balance this result. So the conjugate of 4 plus 3i is 4 minus 3i, and to balance this result we have to write 4 minus 3i here also. Is it clear? Now if you multiply these two, now it is of the form a plus b, a minus b, so it is a complex number, so that's what you have to write, a square plus b square. So that's why we have to write this one is 4 square, and b means what here? 3. So that's why 4 square plus 3 square. Is it clear? So a square plus b square in case of complex number. So now if you multiply the numerator part here, if you see, first of all this 12 we have to multiply this whole part, then second time this 5i we have to multiply this whole part. Is it clear? So if you multiply this 12, 12 4s are, that means this one we have to write 48. Then next 12 3 is a 36 minus 36i. Is it clear? And next what you have to do here, we have to multiply this 5i, this whole part, so that's why 5 into 4, that means this one is we have to write plus 20i. And then if you see here plus minus minus, here 5 3 is a 15, and then I into I, we have to write this one is I square. Is it clear? So easily we can calculate this type of results here. Now how can we calculate? So this one you see I square means minus 1, so that's what you have to do here. In this case, if you see the denominator part here, denominator is 4 square and 3 square, that means 4 square 16 plus 9, that means total 25. So that's why here we get in denominator this one is 25. And now if you see this part here, I square means what? Minus 1 minus minus plus, so that means plus 15. 48 plus 15, how much? 63. So that's why we have to write this one is 63. And the second one is you see here minus 36i plus 20i, that means how much remain here? Minus 16i. So that's why we have to write this one is minus 16i. Is it clear? So this one, now we have to convert this one into a plus ib form, so that's why we have to write this one is 63 by 25 minus this one we have to write 16 by 25i. Now if you see here, this one is a complex number in the form of a plus ib, that means here it is a minus ib. So 63 by 25 is not it, and minus 16 by 25 into I. So this one is a plus ib form. Now we have to find out the conjugate of this one. So finally you have to write conjugate. Finally you have to what? You have to write conjugate. Conjugate equal to, the conjugate of this result is what? Here it is negative, so that's why we have to write down the positive one. So that's why simply you have to write conjugate equals to 63 by 25 plus 16 by 25i. Is it clear? So in this way easily we can solve, and in this way we can find out the conjugate here. I think all of you understood. So in our next class we have to do this type of some more questions here. Some lots of examples are here, so we have to do these questions one by one. Is it clear? Okay, thank you.